Welcome back to the Living for His Glory podcast. I have another near and dear guest with me today. This is my mother, Nancy Barrett. Man, I'm super excited for this one. I know a couple weeks ago we had my dad, her husband, on here, Barry Barrett, and I said at the beginning of that episode it's a personal one to me. There might be some tears. This one will definitely have some tears, so be prepared for that. But that means it's going to be really good because we also connect on a really personal and emotional level, and that's just the woman you are. It's also a part of the man that you helped raise me to be. And those are incredibly good things. In a world like today, it's really easy to not have those emotions because emotions make the hard things in this world so difficult to handle. And so it's easier to just turn it off, but we just make the world worse by doing that. And I'm incredibly grateful that you did not raise me that way
Mm.
and that you are not that way yourself, even though you've had things in your life that would have made it very easy to not be the woman you are. And because of that, you are in so many ways the Proverbs 31 woman.
Mm.
You are an amazing woman, a godly woman, and that is a super strong reason why you're on. Not just because you're my mother, but because you are the woman that is my mother, the godly woman that is my mother. And I am super, super excited for this conversation as we really get into what a godly woman looks like, what
Mm.
that is, what your
Mm.
journey has been in becoming that, and how you can help my audience, especially the female audience, as they are becoming that. But men, if you're listening, this podcast is for you too, because you get to see what a godly woman should look like. So you get to see what a godly woman is. So as you are in pursuit of her, and there's going to be some things targeted to you, some things that's like, hey, men, if you want a godly woman, act this way. So if you're interested in that, which I think every man should be interested in pursuing a godly woman, this is for you. Please listen in. This is going to be an all around really good episode, and I'm super excited for it. Mom, how are you?
I'm good, but tears are already starting. This is gonna be a good hour or so. So proud of you. Literally couldn't be any more proud of you to be my son. And there's a lot of what you say brings tears to my eyes because it's hard. It's hard being a woman. It's hard raising kids. It's hard being a wife. It's all hard. And so for you to have that to say about me, it just fills my soul and I love it. But I'm so proud of you. A part of me is I don't know how Luke got to be as good as he is. I'm like, I don't think I had any part of that. So
You had more part in that than I gave you credit for growing up.
that's good. It's really good to hear. So being humble, maybe that's
I definitely don't do that.
being a humble Christian woman. But
You are, not me.
you said Proverbs 31, and that's probably one of the biggest compliments ever. Personally, sometimes I don't feel that way or think that way about myself, but I'm really glad that's something that maybe is seen by others. And so, but yeah, just to be your mom is just one of my greatest, just a great accomplishment, and just it's one of my favorite identities.
But yeah, so we're just gonna get into a little bit of what we do and acquire some questions for you
Okay.
because I'm not a godly woman. Uh, I never have been, I never will be, and I've had great conversations. I have good friendships with those that are and are trying to become. But and so that because of that, I asked them some really good questions that I'm hoping to answer. Even if I
Okay.
don't ask your question specifically, if you've given it to me, I'm hoping that just through the flow of this, it's just going to get answered anyways.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited for what that's going to bring. The first thing that I'm thinking of is what are one or two spiritual disciplines that you undervalued when you were younger, but now are
Mhm.
important with your relationship with God now?
Okay. So I like to start is what I is so my upbringing was in the Catholic Church, and that's how my childhood was. So Luke, you and I have a very, I'm going to say, lucky ability to be able to say our childhoods can relate on a certain level in a good way. Me and you both lived in a home with two married parents,
That's right.
right? My parents were married for my entire life. They still would be if my dad was alive. My mom still wears her wedding ring. And in the traditional nuclear family as well. No step siblings, no half siblings. There was no step parents. There was no divorce. We lived in a relatively structured, safe home, both me and you, right? And there was no drug abuse, there was no physical abuse, there was no abuse of any kind, there was no alcoholism, right? We're lucky. And I acknowledge that. And I know that you acknowledge that. That doesn't mean that there's no struggles. And it doesn't mean that everything was perfect. To zoom out and to look down on it like that, it's what everybody wants, right? It's what people strive for and wish that they had. A lot of people don't. I listen to a lot of your podcast, and a lot of people aren't like that lucky. And
Yeah.
I definitely acknowledge that. And I love that for you more, that we were able to provide that for you. But in my childhood, I grew up in the Catholic Church. And so I knew Jesus existed. I knew God existed. I knew that he was there. I know I was baptized as a baby. I don't remember in the Catholic Church. It was a lot about all the traditional things, doing the right thing, checking things off of a box or off of a list, and in order to, I don't know, be loved, in order to be accepted by God. So it's like you had to do the right things in order to receive that love or to be loved. At least that's how I interpreted it. I did a first communion at the age of 6, and then I went to religion classes every Monday night, and then I did 8th grade confirmation. When you take these steps, you confess your sins to a priest, not to Jesus. You remember these prayers that you have to pray just because it's time. So with that being what I know about it, I didn't have a relationship with him. And because that doesn't equal relationship. Now I know the difference. But back then, I just knew he existed.
It's an easy thing to fall into.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard knowing and believing in his existence is not the same thing as knowing and believing in your heart that he is our Lord and Savior and having that relationship with him.
Yeah.
Because the demons themselves know and believe that he exists, but they clearly will not see eternal salvation in heaven. And I know the question reflected a lot of disciplines. You talked about growing up, you didn't have the relationship. What really fostered that relationship? What got you from knowledge to faith?
Marrying the right person.
That's good. Wow, there we go.
Marrying the right person. Because ultimately, it was your father, after we were married, that wanted to go to church, that wanted to, because he grew up with a relationship with the Jesus, with having that. And maybe he got away from it for the years that he was away from his family before we were married. But once we were married and we decided that we were starting our home, our family, it was his idea to find a church and go to church. And again, at that time, I was in my young 20s, mid 20s. I didn't know what that meant, but I said, yeah, let's go to church. And I asked for it not to be a Catholic church. And your dad said, I don't want it to be a Catholic church. So there is nothing wrong with, my family, my current extended family are still very Catholic, and I am not downing Catholicism. It's good. And I knew it wasn't, ultimately, as I grew and as I matured and as I got stronger or just grew in my faith, I knew that it wasn't for me. I knew that there was this
Yeah.
other side of it that ultimately I was led to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's clearly other people knew that, namely Martin Luther
Yeah.
himself knew that with the 95 Theses. It's funny. He did that on October 31st, hundreds of years ago. I was at 1492 when he did that. And it's funny. Halloween morning, somebody posted the 95 Theses on the door to our religion department building.
Oh, wow.
In tape, not in nails, but it was
Yeah.
it was a fun joke for all of us. Yeah, that circles back to what he said 2 weeks ago. He said the second most important thing that you can do is marry the right person. It's
Okay.
who you marry. And he speaks incredibly highly of you in that, and he should, because you have been absolutely amazing for him in your marriage and how that's worked in his life. Clearly, same thing right back, because gaining that deeper relationship with Christ rather than just engaging in certain sacraments, certain practices, as important as those are. No matter how many sacraments that you do, that is not the sole
Yeah.
reason, me
There's
and
nothing
you.
wrong with doing those
Yeah.
things. But it did get to a point where, oh, it's time to kneel. Oh, it's time to stand. Oh, it's time to say this prayer. Oh, it's
Hmm.
time to do this. And as a kid, you don't understand. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
And I think I've always been a good person. I've always been a high achiever, and I've always been like looking for the next thing to be better at or to do. And maybe that shaped that personality in me. Maybe that's where I got that, where it's like achieving to be loved, achieving to get whatever it is. You don't have to. You don't have to achieve to be loved.
Yeah.
You don't have to do something in order to be loved. And as much as my childhood, obviously, with my parents were both there, it was all stable, it was very consistent. The one thing I was missing out on from my parents was that emotional connection. My parents didn't, they didn't say, I love you.
Yeah.
I didn't get hugs every day. I didn't get, I'm proud of you. They were there and they were there physically and they provided and we had fun. It's sometimes hard for me to even complain about my childhood because it really was not a bad childhood. We had fun and we went on vacations and it's like I said, it's hard for me to be able to complain because I should not. If there's something that I wish I had an emotional connection with my parents. And I wish that they told me that they loved me. The first
Hmm.
time I remember my dad telling me he loved me was at my wedding to your dad. Like it was a hard thing once I had my own kids, that's when it hit me. That's a hard thing to overcome or to deal with. And I didn't have Christ though either as my father. I didn't start that relationship with Christ until I was an adult, married, and had both you and Lacey. So I was a mother already. When the true relationship with Christ started.
I remember being a kid. And you talking to me a little bit about your childhood, and you told me that you never got told I loved you, that kind of thing, and you just something that you knew it, but you never got told it. And
Right.
to me, I didn't understand. I didn't understand not having a family that didn't say I love you, but I didn't
Yeah.
understand how you came from something that said I love
Mm.
you because you said it too many times.
And
At least for the immature 10
yeah,
year old boy's mind, it's like, Mama, yeah, I love you too.
because that is something that I wanted to change in my home.
Yeah. What prompted you to change that? What prompted you to leave from what you knew and begin that?
I do remember knowing as a kid, and it wasn't until I was a little bit older and I was in other people's homes, maybe my friends, maybe my cousins, and other people's parents were saying it to them. And it was like, why doesn't my parents say that? And so, of course, it's the question, do they love me? Do they not love me? And I remember asking my mom about it. And I remember we were driving down the road in the car. And I said, why don't I heard Aunt Karen say this to her kids? Why don't you say it to us? And my mom even said that her response was, just because I don't say it doesn't mean I don't mean it. And then it was like that was the end of it. I just watched out the window and I was just like, okay. And she still never said
Yeah.
it.
I do remember my grandmother drop me off at school sometimes when you guys are
Mhm.
out of town or
So my
whatever.
mom, your grandmother, yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember this may have prompted the conversation I had with you about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaving the car, and I say, I love you. And she like was like so aback, like she didn't know how to,
Yeah.
and she said it back, but like stuttered. And so I
It's
was like,
hard for her.
yeah.
It's hard for her. And I'm at a place now. I went through a season, right, a young adult, starting my own family. I went through a season where I was mad at her. I was kind of mad at both my mom and dad for like, why didn't you ever say that? I feel like I really needed it. Every kid's different, and maybe I needed it more. I don't know, but I'm at a point now where like it wasn't comfortable for her, and that it still is not very comfortable for her, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I do know that she loves me. I love both of my parents. I love my mom, love my dad. I know that they love me. I know that they're proud of me and whatever she had in her past, but what I chose to do. And so everybody has their choices. And so what I chose to do is I chose to change that in my family.
Yeah.
I wanted that to be changed in my new family
Yeah.
with you and with dad and with you and with Lacey. And I made that choice and it was a no-brainer. The day you were born, I told you that I loved you and kissed you on your forehead. And I cried.
Yeah.
I cried because it was different. It was stepping out of my comfort zone because I didn't like, I also had a hard time saying it, but I knew that I wanted that for you and Lacey.
Yeah.
And maybe I overdid it, but I don't think I did.
No, I just don't think that's something you
You don't
overdo. I
overdo
just
it.
don't.
Yeah.
I think any people will respond to that. Yeah, you could have too much love. Your parents can like helicopter
Oh
parents. I'm
yeah.
like, that's not love, that's control.
Yeah.
You did a very good job. I didn't feel controlled. In fact, there were times I felt pushed out
Mm,
because I didn't grow up like in high school. I didn't I didn't go to hang out at my buddy's house on Friday night. And I know you had some concerns with that. And I did too at times because there are times it was because I didn't have friends. But it became I did have friends, but I got better things to do Saturday morning. I got training, or I got a tournament. And so, but if I did ever want to do that, like literally last night, I went over to my buddy's house. I hadn't seen him in a while. I'm not high school anymore. I'm an adult. You're like, yeah, go hang out with your friend. I was always encouraged. So you loved me so much to know that I was, but I wasn't controlled. I was
And
The times I did feel controlled is because if I did what I wanted to do, it not would not have gone well.
yeah, I knew parents know when what's a good a decision, what's not a good decision for you. I'm obviously going to protect you. It's my job. I want the best for you. We did try to raise you guys to be independent.
Yeah.
Make some choices and fail. That's the hardest thing to do as a parent. Allow your kids to make a choice that was not a good one, but you'll learn from it.
Yeah. Speaking of those choices, because everybody in here that's made a bad mistake wishes that somebody told them something that would have stopped them, or that they would have listened to somebody telling them something that would have stopped that. And because of that, my next question for you is there something you know now that you wish you would have known in your early 20s navigating through a social/college
Mhm.
life and a spiritual journey?
What I wish I knew when I was in my young 20s.
Yeah, while you're navigating that college
Yeah.
life, the spiritual walk that you may or may not have been in, and especially starting to go into the workforce.
Yeah. Jesus.
Jesus. Just Jesus.
That's what I wish I knew.
Is there any it's like specifically? I
Yeah.
know like Jesus is a great answer,
No.
but I'm just curious how that fit into your because I'm curious too as a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
I know I'm a guy, but I'm curious too.
It's yeah, I wish I had the person, yeah, I wish I had Jesus to lead. I wish I had that as somebody to lean on, to help guide me, to read the Bible, to pray to or pray with. I had a rebellious year. I had rebellious years. I didn't have, not only did I not have the emotional connection with with my parents, but they didn't sit and guide me. They didn't sit and I sit on your bed and have deep
Yes.
conversations.
Oh man, many.
I go in Lacey's room and sit and have deep conversations like, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. These are some options. These are some things that you could do. These just guidance. So I didn't get that either. And so I figured out a lot on my own from as a teenager, as a young adult, figured about the good and bad about boys. Like I wasn't great at it. I wasn't perfect at it. I did lots of rebellious things. I drank alcohol. I smoked cigarettes. I
While in nursing school, man, we're paying attention to us.
alcohol for sure. Let's just call it what it is. I'm
Yeah.
probably like the most goody two shoes rebellious person that you're ever gonna meet. That makes sense. I was never addicted to anything. I was never like, but yeah, I experimented with that stuff and I didn't have anybody to tell me not to. I lived with Catholic parents who drank all the time. And that was actually encouraged and okay. I started getting influenced by my peers and my friends and my friend groups. And so it's really important who you hang out with because you can either, well, we say it's important who you marry, but before you marry, it's important who you hang out with because you can be influenced in multiple different ways depending on who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
You hang out with this group over here who's drinking and smoking and doing bad things and staying out all night and maybe sleeping around,
Yeah.
then that's what you're going to start doing, those things. But
Yeah.
if you hang out with this group over here who doesn't go out on Saturday night because they want to get to church early on Sunday morning, or they maybe meet on a Saturday for a Bible study, then that's what you're going to. But and there's stuff in the middle too.
Yeah.
There's not the one way or another way. There's gray areas in the middle where.
Yeah.
But what I wish I had when I was young was somebody like number one, Jesus, but number two, a good mentor to guide me to not make some mistakes.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, sometimes I can say, thankfully, I made those mistakes because I learned from it.
Yeah. I don't, men or women, listen to this right now. I want you to, what is the word that we use now? Clock that, clock that. I don't know lingo. Well, I'm one of us and I don't know lingo.
Trust
So,
me, I don't know.
The number when I'm talking to my single guy friends, single girlfriends, and they're talking about, I don't know how to find a godly woman or a godly man. I'm struggling with that, the solitude. I'm like, look, if we take a look at your life, and some of them, I'm like, you go out and drink every week. You want to go to the bars, you want to go to all these major college functions. You're not going to find your future wife. You're going to find your future mistake there. To find your future husband, if you want to find your future wife, go where your future husband and wife are.
Yeah.
That's just if you want your future husband or wife to be alcoholics and have be all the fun party life, then you'll go to the fun party life. But if you want them to be godly, if you want them to be a man or woman after God's own heart, you go find them at church. You go find them at Bible study. You get plugged in to a godly Christian community, and no matter where you live, I guarantee you have one. I guarantee you there's one right there. I, unless you're living in the middle of the jungle. If you're living anywhere with any kind of culture, with any kind of society, you're going to find a godly culture somewhere. And you may not find the woman God has for you there because she might not be there yet. But you're going to become the man or the woman that your future godly wife or husband wants. And it's just going to eventually work.
Yeah. And there's this level of looking for perfection, and that's not going to happen. It worked out for me and your dad. We were both, going back to that, we were both broken people who came together. Now, we had the chemistry, we got along, we had fun, we were best friends, right? We shared similar future goals. We were both driven, we both wanted more, we both wanted to grow. There are some things that you look for in a partner, but ultimately, if you're looking for the one perfect person, then you're not going to find them.
Yeah.
You're always going to be with someone. It's two totally different people coming together from two totally different childhood homes, wanting two totally different things. And you've got to be able to figure that out. But you've got to be, whether you're a female or a male, you've got to be able to grow with each other. You've got to be able to partner and not complete each other, complement each other. It's a
Ooh,
partnership.
that's good. The
Yeah,
complimentary, right? Not the completion. That's good.
thank you.
I like that.
A lot of people will say it's two people becoming one, and I just don't agree with that. It's not two people becoming one, it's two people coming together, because you don't lose yourself in marriage. You're not supposed to lose yourself in marriage. Like, you are coming as you, he is coming as he, if I'm talking about
Yeah.
from my perspective. And you don't want yourself to fit into him and do what he wants. He doesn't want to just fit into you and do what you want. And you don't lose each other to make something different.
Yeah.
You both stay who you are, stay your own genuine, authentic self. You're supposed to just complement each other to grow together, not change each other. That's a huge thing, is that a lot of relationships try to change each other. If I wanted dad to be a certain person, so I found him, and then I wanted to change him, then he wasn't my guy in the first place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're wanting to change a ton of things about your partner, then they're not your partner.
Yeah.
Dump them, break up with them. I guess I'm not encouraging breakups here, but I am
Yeah.
encouraging making the person you marry is the most important, like dad said, the second most important decision of your life is who you marry. Every decision matters.
There are some people that should be encouraged to break up. That's tough, but
So it's
sometimes,
not yet, because it's
yeah,
not until you're married.
yeah,
You have the freedom and ability to break up or to keep searching, or if you know that you're dating the right person right now, what changes do you need to make sure that stays a solid foundation and that grows stronger?
yeah. I like to think of it as because it's a weird mix. It feels like a paradox between not changing your person,
Right.
but growing together and being refined.
Yeah.
There's a constant, no one's perfect. And that by definition is a change, but not the change of themselves. If I were to find a diamond in the rough, right? And you pick it up, okay, this is my diamond, this is the one that I want. That's these dirt, it has dirts, it has imperfections, and those imperfections in a lot of ways are beautiful. And sometimes you love the imperfections.
Yeah.
If you truly love
Yeah.
somebody, you love those imperfections. But
Totally.
there's some things that need to be groomed. There's some things that take, you have to put the diamond on the fire and you in the fire as well, because you're also the diamond yourself, and be purified and be cleansed and be a lot and shine brighter, be healthier. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to take the diamond and try to make it a ruby. If you want a ruby, go get a
Go
ruby.
get a ruby.
You can't make the diamond the ruby.
Yep.
As much as you love the diamond, as much as you want it to be the ruby, you can't change the ruby because the diamond will always be the diamond.
Yeah.
And if you try to make the diamond feel like the ruby, try to be the
They will
ruby,
not shine
it
the
will,
same.
it won't. It just
They
won't.
will not shine the same.
Yes, and you're going to, the relationship's going to be destroyed. The quote unquote diamond is going to be destroyed. And it's
It
just
won't be able to be the gem that it's supposed to be.
exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
you're holding them back, and you can't let the pain of losing that diamond not only limit that diamond's light, but limit yourself from having the ruby that you want,
Love it.
that's been made for you.
Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to let go of somebody you love,
Yes.
knowing they're not the right person
Yeah.
for you long term.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yes, it is.
It's, but it's, so we all do hard things.
Yeah.
Right? We
Yeah.
all do hard things. Life
Yes.
is hard.
That's right.
Dad says life is hard, put on a helmet.
Yes, he
The
does.
Bible says life is hard, put on God's armor.
Yeah.
Right?
There we go.
There we go.
I love the armor of God.
Sometimes we have to do hard things, and it's better to do a hard thing before you're married than to get married and a couple years later, like it's so hard and something happens and you get a divorce.
Yeah.
So, so maybe we need to turn this podcast around a little bit.
Yeah.
This isn't a breakup podcast.
No, it's not. No, we want relationships to grow and thrive.
Relationships
We
thrive.
do, and so I think and that's a question that's been asked of.
But it's all true.
Yes.
It's better when you're young, then that's the time where you have to be figuring out what you want for the rest of your life. And if you're not with it right now, then it's time to move on to
Yeah.
find, because life is very long.
Yeah. I've been in a situation where I was with somebody I deeply loved and cared about, and I had to make a decision like what we just talked about. And just to clarify, everybody listening, it's not a decision you make lightly. It's not a decision you make off a whim, off an emotion. It's something that requires deep thought.
Prayer.
Prayer, definitely. So much prayer went into it, so much conversing with the Lord. It's the most important thing if you're going to make a big decision like that. That's got to happen. Because if it can work, you should make it so that it should.
Yeah.
If it can work, then
Yeah.
make it work.
Make it work.
That's only if it can't.
So how do we make that work, Luke?
How do we make that work? Yeah, I'm not the one being interviewed. And so, even like to my first question, talking about certain spiritual disciplines.
Yeah.
My pastor actually, I remember hearing him preach a sermon, and he said that he didn't condone praying together before marriage because of how sacred of an act that is,
Okay.
how spiritual bonding that is. I don't know if that's your opinion.
Yeah.
So let's put yourself into perspective. You're a young adult. You're an 18 to 24, 25-year-old woman right now.
Okay.
And you're with a dude that you really love, whether you found him at college, whether you're high school sweethearts, you've been with him for a while, you really love him. But there's something lacking in the relationship, which if you're that young, there probably is because we're all young.
Yeah.
What are some things that you're like, okay, I could look and address on and think, okay, these are ways that I can strengthen my relationship because I think it's the one that I want, that God wants from me. I want it, and I want it to be that. How can I strengthen our relationship, and how sometimes you can even help lead your man to be that godly man, to encourage him to be that godly man, and to therefore make your relationship a godly relationship.
We're only in control of ourselves ultimately. So if I wanted something to change or to be done, then I would need to start doing it myself in hopes to influence my partner instead of nagging, controlling, overbearing. Instead of those things, I can focus on myself, do the things that I want to do for me that will also help the relationship, And that's reading scripture every morning, reading your Bible every morning, praying. It doesn't have to be every morning, like every night or whatever is good. And praying, I would welcome praying with my partner and praying with my partner even before marriage. I think that it helps connect that relationship. It helps bring a level of intimacy. It helps bring a level of emotional connection. Because if ultimately it's not there, then you still have time to get out. Like,
Yes, true.
I didn't do it that way. I'm giving that advice because that's what I wish I did. Like, coming from my perspective, I've then a lot of what I'm saying is what I wish I did, not what I did do. Because what I did do was, again, in a way, hoped for the best. And it's not always strong and secure. But in a way, I got lucky to still be married 22 years later. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I knew who your dad was. I knew his go get 'em spirit. I knew his personality, fun loving personality. I knew that we connected. I knew that he was a man of God. And it took us a couple of years in our marriage to get to a place where we were both following Jesus and following Christ and having that center of our marriage. But I guess lucky is not really a great term because we worked to get there. It didn't just fall in our laps. Everybody has choices. It goes back to everybody has a choice. God didn't make Adam eat the apple, right?
No. No.
He had a choice. So everybody has a choice, and all of your choices and decisions matter. If you grew up in a home that you didn't like, you have a choice to make your home different.
Yeah.
You have a choice to change that legacy, change the generational sin that might be in your family. You have a choice to I had a choice to start saying I love you to my kid when it was hard, and now it's not hard. I had a choice, dad had a choice to change the way he grew up, to not be so aggressive or to have that type of physical aggression in his home. He made choices to change the legacy, right? That I think that's huge in in families and in growth. And
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about, I mentioned lead and support your husband because, and as a man, as somebody that's grown into a man of God, that's research, that not just research has had how to be that, but has actively tried everything to be that, I understand my role as a leader. And so when I asked you how to lead your man, which is a question that I was asked by somebody else, I had to take some thinking about it because aren't I supposed to be a
Mhm.
leader? The Proverbs 31 woman, in a lot of ways, is a leader. She's not just somebody that takes a back seat. She's not a sidekick. Let's get that out of the way. She's not
Correct.
a sidekick. She doesn't take the back seat. She's not a passenger princess.
Yep.
She's somebody that goes in, does what she knows she's supposed to do, does what she's called to do, and just kicks some tail. And it's not just the man is the sole leader. There are times when he is. There's a lot of times where he needs to be because our work with Rise Up Kings and Rise Up Queens on your part. I've heard a little bit about Jessica Lewis and what she
Mhm.
says. You should feel free, a lot of fun, a lot of I don't think this is a good word for it, but almost whimsy. Hearing about some of the things that you did at Queens.
In marriage, like I said, it's two broken people coming together and wanting different things, needing different things, and come from different backgrounds. So to lead and serve my husband, I think is what you were getting at is, for one, it takes a lot of grace and forgiveness.
You
Um,
men are flawed.
but on a man's perspective, it takes a lot of grace and forgiveness. Women are flawed. Like it's two flawed people coming together. But yeah, men are seen as the leader and protector of the family, of the union, of the marriage, of the whole family. And but at the same time, that doesn't mean dominance.
Yes.
That doesn't mean control. It doesn't, or power. That's not what that means. So women can also lead. We lead beside him, not behind him.
No, you're not in front of me. You're not behind me. You're
You're
right
right
here,
beside him.
parallel.
And it's funny you said that because I wrote this down and God said it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. So you lead by partnering. And both women and men have different roles
Yes.
in that leading. Sometimes the woman models faith, patience, forgiveness, integrity, and that really should come from both people, but maybe in different ways. Man and women are not the same. We're not supposed to act the same. We're not supposed to react the same. We're not supposed to lead the same. We're different for a reason. It's God's purpose. It's God's whole reason to bring us together so that I went back to complementing each other and not completing each other. A woman can lead a man through respect, support, encouragement. How much does men love words of affirmation?
We are in a lot of ways just like puppy dogs. Without, I can't tell you how much it can mean to have a full unbridled support.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. Like it's like when I want to go do something and chase something, or even better, when I'm trying to show up purposefully and
Hmm.
intentionally in a relationship for somebody that I love, and that's met with, wow, great job. Thank you for doing
Hmm.
that. Or go get that. Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, let's go and get that.
Let's speak truth. Let's speak encouragement into our men. Let's not just expect them to do well and then just say, oh, that's what you're supposed to do anyways. Let's tell them, good job. You did great. I love seeing that. I want to see that more. Help me with this.
I can, yeah, I can tell you as a man right now, I want to go through a wall. I want to go run through a wall.
Yeah.
Like I want to go run through a wall for that.
Yeah. And then if something happens that maybe it wasn't the best decision, maybe you didn't do something the right way, then like you're again, we're not here to fix him. The man is human. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Tell him nice try or it's okay. Give him some grace, give him a hug, and then walk through it together. How can I support you? How can I? So, like, when you're trying to figure out what you want to do in a career, you're trying to figure out how are you going to provide for your future family, right? Then you're trying your best and you need support behind you, even though you might not get it right along the way. This takes me back to mine and dad's. You were a baby. Me and dad were trying to make it. We're struggling financially. I had my career, which was great. And dad, in 1 year, had 10 W-2s or something. That means he had 10 different jobs in 1 year. And luckily, I finished nursing school and I was a nurse, and mine was pretty stable. And I just don't remember ever saying to him, you need to do better. We need more money. I just don't remember saying that to him. And I take you back, like that, I didn't know Christ. This was the beginning of my journey. I didn't know Christ. It's just who I am. I wanted to support him. We were in this together. We were partnering together. Hey, babe, like that job, you're better than that. And he would go find another job. But he wanted to do better for us. And I supported him and he wanted this job and he wanted that job and he wanted this job. And sometimes, yes, internally, I'm like, when are you going to get your together and be, because I come from a stable household and I wanted him to be stable and that wasn't his personality. And he's like, I want to work on commission. And I was like, oh my God, if I don't know how much you're getting paid, how am I going to budget? But we made it work and we did it together beside each other.
Yeah, right there. Oh man, that's awesome.
And your dad might say, and there was a time where he wanted to do something. Maybe he was in a job or he wanted to take a job, and I'm just like, you're better than that. And he didn't believe it. He didn't believe it himself. But I wasn't, I feel like there wasn't like me purposely trying to help him. I just said it out of, I knew it. I knew it. You're better than that. Like, don't settle for that job. You
Yeah.
can do better.
You're calling them up. I don't. That's not a. I
Yeah.
don't, it doesn't seem like a nag. It doesn't seem like a. I'm here.
Right.
You're here. You're not doing enough. It's a.
Right.
You call. It's a. The language is a calling up.
Right.
Even if you are up here and he's down there, you're not nagging at him, being like, "Man, you're not doing enough." It's
No.
you're. It's you deserve more than what you're giving
Language
yourself.
matters.
Language is
And a critical heart and critical words are destructive.
yes, yes, and there's so much particularity in that. Men respond to different things in different ways, and the
Yes,
women do themselves.
correct.
My favorite thing to talk about My pastor has shaped me so much. This comes from him. I've referenced him enough times. His name is Noah Herron, pastor at Way Church in Nashville, Tennessee. If you ever want to go check his stuff out. He just finished a series all throughout October. He preached a series called "The Birds, the Bees, and the Bible." Oh, it was good. And so I think it was talking about how to be a godly man, or maybe it was just how to date. I think it was how to date biblically. And he talked about being a student of Maddie. His Maddie is his wife.
Okay.
His wife's name is Maddie. He talked about being a student of Maddie
Okay.
and being a student of her, learning her tendencies, learning what works, what doesn't work, and that's experimental. You don't
Yep.
learn how to do stuff without failing at it, but you're a student, of your spouse. You are a
Yeah.
student of Barry Barrett. Barry Barrett is a student, or at least y'all should be a student.
Yeah.
And it's be a student
Yeah.
of your partner.
And you never graduate.
No, no, you don't.
Your dad and I have been married for 22 years, and we're still learning about each other.
Yes.
Still. Because we've now been married to probably at least 3 or 4 different versions of each other in this 22 years. You grow and you learn and you change and you grow and you learn and you change. And hopefully you're growing and learning and changing together,
Yeah.
not apart. And thankfully, I feel like we have. Some days I feel like we haven't, but ultimately, yes. And so you never graduate from being a student of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody that thinks that they know everything about their partner or spouse
Yeah.
is that's when they're cooked. I think it was the first Captain America, and I remember it was Howard Stark talking to Captain America. He said, "The moment that you think you know what's going on inside a woman's brain is the second that your goose is cooked."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's that principle of you never stop learning about each other.
And you never stop learning about yourself. If you never
Yeah,
stop learning about yourself, so how do you expect your partner to know who you are? How do you expect your partner to know what you want if you don't even know what you want?
yeah.
That's where it goes. That's where it comes from, right? You also have to keep learning about yourself and keep growing. And then, yeah, vocalize your expectations, vocalize what you want. You can't expect your partner to just know. They don't know what you're thinking.
We are not mind readers, ladies. Most of the time, we don't have the emotional intelligence to read our own minds. Never mind what's going on in y'all's.
Yeah, and I've said this before. Sometimes, like I wake up a new person every single day. So if I'm waking up a new person every single day, how is he supposed to keep up with that? How is he supposed to know who I am today?
Just partially from being a student
Yeah,
and learning. And it's just a beautiful thing when that works together and seeing how that does work together and how that could work together. It's just super cool.
it's helpful for men to understand that going back to that whole leading and protecting does not mean dominance,
Yes.
control, power.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want your woman to hold on to that softness, that femininity, that whimsy, then then the man can strongly influence that one way or another because women look up to the men and it that we just do. And I think it's meant to be that way, right? But a man with aggressiveness, power, control, whether that's yelling, whether that's throwing things, whether like that changes a woman's heart
Yeah.
for the worst. There needs to the man has to take responsibility for his own behaviors, his own choices, his own reactions to not bring the unhealthy power into a relationship or a marriage or a home.
Yeah. That's right.
I think it's important
Yeah.
because I think it's in the man. I don't know. I'm not a man. Never been a man. But I sense, number one, I know y'all have a lot of testosterone. And right, and you guys have this need and desire to like, I don't know, it's competition, it's beating stuff up, like it's punching things like in the gym or lifting the heaviest and like wrestling and maybe you wrestled as a kid with your dad, with your brothers. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
But
I definitely did.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, absolutely, yes, go be a man, right? But be careful with your power when you're using it to protect your family.
Yeah, go do it in the right ways.
Healthy, yeah.
Yeah, go be a man in the right ways, be powerful in the right ways. A weak man is somebody that doesn't do powerful things in powerful settings. Like you're talking about the gym, you talk about wrestling
Hmm.
with your dad or brothers or right other men, and I mean, even just having tough conversations with other men and being masculine in those ways. Because if you don't show up that way, men will choose to be masculine. So if they're not choosing to be masculine in godly ways, they're going to be masculine in ungodly ways. And that is going to show up in their relationships and their marriages with toxic tendencies.
It'll be destructive.
Yes, it 100% will be. And right now, we live in a generation that is, we see so much going wrong with the world, but
Mhm.
we live in a generation that sees what's wrong with it. And there's always, in my perspective, there's always been godly women. There's just people that show up and women that show up in the church like that. I'm seeing a resurgence of men in the church, men that are sick of what we see in the world and want change. And they see God as that one source of truth that He is that can change everything and make their lives exactly how they want it to be, exactly how they know it should be. And I'm telling you, men, like go look up what it means by God to be a godly man. In fact, now just thinking about it, my juice is going. I can make that a series. I can have, in fact, you guys
Yeah.
have hopefully listened to the Mike Barrett, the Barry Barrett, talk about some ruckmen I've had on here, Justin Aldridge, CJ Stewart, Coach CJ Stewart, Wyatt Seidel, and I'm thinking of many more I can have on here. Just how to be that man, how to be that man that your future wife needs you to be, that God's called you to be, that you need to be. Like that's so important to become that and learn how to become that and channel your masculinity into positive ways. I'm very blessed. I've had so many mentors
Amen.
to feed into my life that I can do that.
Mhm.
I have my mistakes. I've had my moments where I just lose control of myself. And that's another reason why it's so important to have a godly woman to be there with you.
Mhm.
Because if you're with a godly woman and you're trying to be a godly man and you're a man after God's own heart, then you're just not going to lose control because you're with that person. But a godly man with an ungodly woman will start to become more ungodly. It's been Proverbs. We talk about Proverbs 31 woman, but in Proverbs, I don't remember exactly what in Proverbs, but in Proverbs it also talks about it's better to be alone in the desert
Mm.
than to be with a nagging woman.
Yeah, you influence each other.
Yeah,
It's not a one way directional. It's unity. It's two, and we both influence each other. And yeah, there's toxic choices that women can make. There's toxic choices that men can make.
yeah,
And the hope and the goal is for both to for both to step into who they were created to be and keep growing.
yeah,
The growth never stops. It's ongoing. You have to put yourself in the right community, be around the right people, put yourself in the right community.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's some really
You
good
said good
stuff.
stuff, and there's a lot of godly men on this podcast that go listen to them. I know Luke's interviewed a lot in the past. I know his dad is a good one. I know his uncle Mike is a good one. I know his cousin Cole is a good one.
Hmm.
I've been very blessed to. I wrote down some Christian role models in along the way in my life, and they almost all come from your dad, from my husband's side of the family, because they all like their mom, Nana, brothers' wives, they all picked good wives to marry. They've all been on my journey of finding Christ and having that connection, and just another example of why marrying the right person is it matters.
100%. That's super important. And just thinking about everything that we've said and everything that was said in the sermons that I've referenced back in October about the birds, the bees, and the Bible way. Encourage you to listen to those if you want to talk more about those. But man, and listen more about those. Just it's so important. I have such a passion for men. I have such
Mhm.
a passion helping them be the men that God has called them to be, and I have
Mhm.
such disdain for men that will actively choose not to do that because
Mhm.
it's hard.
Yeah.
I can't stand people that don't do it because it's hard.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of ways I don't do things because it's hard.
So guess what? When they choose not to, it's still hard.
Yeah, it's
And it's probably harder.
yeah, because now let's look at it in the confines. Let's talk about a relationship. Okay, let's say you're in an argument, things are getting heated, things are tough, And all of a sudden, you instead of calming down and working it out and being a man of peace and being a man of love and showing up for your spouse or whatever like that, you instead say, you know what? F you, you're this, you're that, you're calling them names, and then I'm done with you. And if you're on the phone, unfortunately, hopefully you're not.
Hang up.
But if you're in person, you walk out, you slam the door, and you drive away, right? And like the only thing that I taught you is that I don't value you.
Yep.
You're not good enough for me. I'm done with it. You're too much for me. Or more, when things get hard, when,
I'm running.
yeah, I'm running away and I'm not going to show up for you. That's all you learned. That's all. And that's not only all you learn about him, but it starts to be, it's very easy to become, that's all I deserve.
But what's going on in you too?
Yeah, all of a sudden, I taught myself by walking away and running away that I lose my cool. I'm not. Like I didn't show up in peace, and that I ran away from a situation, and that I didn't show up in a proper way, and that I ran away.
One of my favorite things that has stuck with me that I've learned, and I wish I learned a long time ago, but I didn't. I just learned it a couple years ago, which is fine at least. So, is when emotions are high, when and logic goes out the window.
Yeah,
When emotions rise, logic is gone, or at least is lowered. Almost everybody reverts to their 8-year-old self
yeah,
and their reaction and their internal beliefs and their internal both sides. If you're yelling at me, maybe it's because Luke needs to protect 8-year-old Luke. Luke felt threatened. And so Luke gets big and gets angry and gets loud because he's trying to protect 8-year-old Luke. What happened at 8-year-old Luke? He didn't feel protected or loved or whatever that was, whatever that internal thing is. That's when you're getting big and unhealthily emotional, then you're reverting back to whatever those demons are. Okay. But maybe on my side, it's I'm not lovable. I don't belong. I I'm I don't whatever. I'm not enough. And so both sides are reverting back to their 8-year-old self and being very emotionally immature. So who's going to be the person who is the most emotionally mature to step in and say, because if the point is connection, is the point is intimacy, the point is the goal, let's say the goal is intimacy and the goal is connection, then who is going to be the most mature one to step in and say, with a soft voice, with patience, with integrity, with compassion, with empathy, and say, I don't mean harm. I did not mean to hurt you. I did not want to hurt you. I am sorry.
you can either be right or you can be married. It's a direct quote from my pastor, Noah Heron.
And that doesn't mean you're never, just because you're married, it doesn't mean you're never. But
This is
you
true.
have to be able to be emotionally mature enough to come together because the goal is connection and intimacy and friendship and
Yes, that's
crap.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is exactly right. I think one word that I've been learning about the Christian faith itself is
Hmm.
unity. In my church history class, and unity it's what we as a church need to have. It's what we as people don't like to have because
Hmm.
we're people. And a marriage starts in unity. Unity in meeting at the altar, coming together, saying the vows in front of witnesses, your family, your close friends. Everything about a wedding is unity.
Yeah.
And so if you go out into your marriage and it is not the unity that you found at the altar, then it is not a godly marriage. And I know that there's dissension. I know that there's arguments. I know that there's whatever it is, but you talked about the emotional
Hmm.
maturity to choose unity.
Choose each other no matter what. And you have to understand that if there's love, if there's, yeah, true connection, if there's, you're married, then you have to want and think the best of the other person.
That's right.
I'm hoping that you're not getting married and then wanting to trip them and make them fall along the way. Hopefully you didn't choose the wrong person that badly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're going into marriage thinking that just because you get married, everything's going to be perfect, Just because you get married, all of your pain points are going to go away. Just because you get married, I'm going to have I'm going to have somebody love me every day of my life now that I'm married. I'm going to have my best friend every day of my life now that I'm married. I'm going to have a source of support every day of my life now that I'm married. You're unfortunately going to be, what's the word, Luke, I'm looking for?
We're not mind readers.
I know. There we go.
We're not mind readers.
You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed because that person, as much as you want them, yes, to support you, to love you, to be your best friend, all of those things, if you're looking for some sort of completeness because of them, like Christ will do that. Another person is not going to fulfill you and all of the needs that you want all of the time. It's an expectation that really only Christ can fill.
Yeah.
So, has dad let me down? Yeah. Have I been highly emotional, sad, crying, and dad dismissed me? Yeah. Yeah. Has dad hurt me and betrayed me? Yeah. Yeah, yes. Has dad, have I needed to like be vulnerable with him and tell him something that like was really heavy on my heart and he didn't want to hear it? Yeah. They're not always going to be the person you need them to be or want them to be because they're another human who has their own issues
Yeah.
and are dealing with their own internal things and struggles. And I think that's important to know. It goes back to, yeah, you find somebody that you're compatible with, but it's still two imperfect people coming together. Going back to, yeah, everybody kind of reverts to their 8-year-old immature self sometimes when they get highly emotional. And you got to remember that about everybody was raised in a different childhood home. So everybody's 8-year-old self is different. It looks different. You had your own 8-year-old childhood home. Your future spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife has their own childhood home. They were raised very differently. And then, so can you blame their parents? No, because their parents were raised in a different childhood home by your grandparents. What did that look like? You're given what you're given along the ways, hoping some legacies are changed, hoping some choices are made to improve that. But at the same time, I don't know. Ultimately, I think we're all trying our best here.
Right.
Life's hard. Put on the armor of God.
That's life's hard. Put on the armor of God. That's super cool. And honestly, I'm just gonna say I preached a few sermons on that years ago. There's somewhere on the YouTube on my YouTube channel. So there's that. But also just honestly, I think it's a great Bible study to get in the armor of God. There's a lot of great things on it to get into if you are interested in the armor of God, which I highly encourage. It's one of my favorite verses.
Ephesians 6.
Ephesians 6. Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. Ephesians 6. It's good. I'm glad you listened because yesterday you called it Ephesians 5.
Did I? I'm growing, man.
I know. It's all good fun. I even preached the sword of the spirit with a lightsaber. It was great.
You did. I remember that.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. Man, back when I was young.
We have that on video. We're gonna have to post it some.
Yeah, I have. It's on.
Is it already on YouTube?
It's on my YouTube channel. I
Good.
posted it when we got it. But
Okay.
awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's an honor, honestly. You have no idea how much of an honor it is for a mom to have her son invite her on his podcast that's spreading the word of the Lord to the world. I couldn't be more proud of you, Luke. I love you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, and it means the world to me, and I'm glad that we had this conversation. It's one of our longer episodes, but it was also just one of our better episodes. I know you were nervous coming on to it. But it's my favorite thing in the world when I have a guest. I know that they're nervous,
Yeah.
and we get into it, and that melts.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing in the world to watch.
Yeah,
and it happens quickly.
Yeah.
Like it happens quickly. Like they just melt. It's just them, and now I'm like, yes, we're here.
We're here. We're here. God's here helping.
That's right.
Yep.
Power of the Holy Spirit. Thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, I'm not gonna shake your hand. We're gonna get up and hug.
All right.
And break things along the way.
Yep, there we go.
Love you, buddy.
That's classic. Love you, Mama. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Living for His Glory. I had such an amazing time making it, and I really hope it connected and impacted you on a significant level. I love making and recording episodes like these. I truly believe that they fulfill the Living for His Glory mission, which is to help you break free of your worldly chains and step into the person that God has called you to be. I love you guys. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I hope that it changes something about how you do this week. I hope you have a good day and a good week as we continue to get ready for next week's episode. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you later.